crazy transfer window. Of course, man, we have to react to it. We have to rate the window. Who won the window? I mean, you know what it is. Chelsea, 7 players. I mean, who signed 7 players in January? London Cowboys FC does, man. London Cowboys FC does. Todd Bowley moves crazy. Roman 2.0. Roman 2.0. We the ones. We the ones. Welcome everyone to MRM Sports. I'm your host Ronald Tim. It's the reaction to the January transfer window of the Premier League. What a crazy transfer window. What a crazy. I mean, English teams will surprise you. And of course, at the top of the topic, at the top of the conversation, has to be my beloved Chelsea, the London Cowboys FC. I mean, Chelsea moved mad in the transfer windows. Everyone knows that Chelsea moved mad in the transfer windows. I mean, look at our signings. Just look at our signings. We've signed how many players? 7 players in January. Which team? Even relegation battling teams don't do that. Which team does that? I mean, the teams chasing the Premier League title don't do that. Who does that? The London Cowboys FC under Todd Bowley, Chelsea FC. I mean, I know most people don't like the name London Cowboys FC, but then I always find it hilarious, man. I'm a Chelsea fan through and through, but I find it hilarious. And the way we're moving, it's a Roman 2.0. I mean, even Roman didn't move this crazy in transfer windows, and he's to splash money. Chelsea are just moving mad, man. But then, you know what? On a serious note, thinking about especially the top 6 sides and other teams, man, of course, I think Chelsea actually won the transfer window. I mean, you look at the quality. The reason why I'm saying Chelsea won, because you can argue that Arsenal brought in players they need to strengthen the squad depth. But then whereas Chelsea brought in players who immediately jump into the starting 11 and make Chelsea better. So that's why I feel like Chelsea actually won, because we've been crying out for a midfield. We bought Enzo Fernandez in the dying embers of the transfer window. Enzo is a finally Chelsea player, breaking the British record. Of course, we bought him for what? £107 million, I believe. That's the overall fee. Of course, it's not paying. We're not paying all of it up front, man. I was just listening to Sky earlier. I think we're paying 40 million to start off, and then that one is spread out. Is it what, 8? Around 8 years. I mean, this is slave trade, man. This is human trafficking. 8-year contracts. They belong to Chelsea. So yeah, man. I think Chelsea on Enzo definitely makes me feel better. I actually can't wait now, because I mean, if Zakaria comes back, if Kante comes back, I mean, you now have options of players we can choose from that position. I mean, and you know what? If Kante comes back, you can actually choose. Will Kante be a sitter or Zakaria be a sitter? You try to push Enzo to act like more of a box-to-box nyana or something along those lines, man. It's actually exciting times. And you think of Modric. We saw the cameo of Modric. I mean, I was happy. I mean, I know fellow Chelsea fans I talk to on the regular who were actually ecstatic that with a player like Modric, who was taking on players, who looked energetic, electric, man, wanted to attack every chance he got. And you think of Felix, I mean, that cameo again against Fulham before the red card. I mean, that was just brilliant from him. He was the best player on the pitch. And you think we're adding those players. And Patishale, man, is played it in perfectly to the back four. I mean, him next to Thiago Silva. I mean, the Rolls Royce Silva, the grandmaster. I mean, the tactician of defending, the genius defender. Out here helping the youngster, who for me is a smash of Zuma and Rudiger all in one, man. The better of both of them, really. I think his ceiling is so high, man. He can become the best defender at some point, I believe. So we actually won. We won this transfer window based on what we needed and what we got from the top 6 sides. I mean, think of Spurs, what they spent. United, Weghorst and new signing. I mean, I can't pronounce his name, from Bayern. City didn't bring in anyone. Liverpool, Gakpo only. So again, I think Chelsea brought in players where we need, with the hope that the players who are injured, if they come back to the club, if they come back from injury. I mean, you think of Reece James back, Chilwell back, Kante back, Zakaria back. Think of Sterling. I think Sterling is almost back. You think of who else is injured. I mean, these are quality players who are bringing in. And honestly, for me, I think that's what makes us stand out in the transfer window. That's what makes other clubs, other fans especially, even I think clubs hate what Chelsea are doing. Because we found a loophole here, we exploited the loophole to our benefit. It's going to be shut down by FIFA, I believe, or by UEFA, wherever. But then it's done, man. We can't reverse what Chelsea are doing. And on the flip side is, okay, it's an 8-year contract. What if it doesn't work out? But then we've seen all the signs that say it will work out from the players in the previous clubs. Of course, you can't judge that it is going to be successful at Chelsea, but then I mean, these are players who are sought after. Felix was sought after. Let's not lie. Let's not kid ourselves. Any other side in England really would have wanted Felix. I think even Man City could have done with João Felix. Think of Modric. Arsenal were tried by almost to get Modric. Chelsea got him. You think of Enzo Fernandez. I mean, if Enzo was going to be sold for 50 million, you'd think even your Barcelona, Real Madrid, or PSG, your buyers would have gone after him. Even your City, your Liverpool, your Arsenal, your Man United would have gone after him. And Chelsea got him. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. And then I think reacting to other transfers, I think, of course, for Arsenal, you know, the brought in Jorginho. I can't ignore that as a Chelsea player. What does Jorginho bring to Arsenal? I mean, he brings the first quality that Jorginho brings. I mean, I've always wanted Jorginho out of the team for over a year now. What Jorginho brings is leadership. There is no doubt about it. Chelsea have lost a leader there. In what Jorginho doesn't do on the field, leadership is one of the key aspects. No wonder what is second club captain at Chelsea. He was the second club captain, the vice club captain, at Chelsea after Aspilicueta. It was him and then Thiago Silva. I mean, Jorginho brings that leadership. At times, he brings that calmness to the pitch. But then, that's what we're giving Arsenal. We're giving them leaders in a team full of youngsters. I mean, for them to gain an experienced player. You think now, the experienced players they really have, like in terms of age and those who've won and done it. I think you put Partey there for what they've done at Atletico. You put Jorginho there and then Zinchenko and Jesus. I think those are three leaders really. Zinchenko, Partey, Xhaka also Xhaka. But then it is what it is, man. We gave them Jorginho. How do I feel about it? I mean, I'm happy. I would have been disappointed a bit if we didn't bring in Enzo, but then I think Enzo is an upgrade. And Enzo's got that South American spirit in him, man. I think it's something that Chelsea had been lacking for a while now. That fight, that I will win no matter what cost. I would rather play. If I play shit, I'm going to put in some dangerous tackles. I'm going to make sure that I give it all my all. I mean, we saw him for Argentina. You just hope, you've seen it for Benfica, so just hope he brings that same vibe and energy into the team and it rubs off other players. I mean, he's a World Cup winner. So for him, that's the pinnacle of football. Now, I just hope him winning the World Cup means now addicted to winning trophies. And you know, Chelsea is a club that wins trophies. So for Arsenal, man, Jorginho is key. Again, Trossard is also another key player. I think they also brought in another defender, but then I think Jorginho and Trossard are the key players that they brought in. I mean, Trossard can play across the country. He's a perfect addition to come off the bench or even to start when he's resting some players or in the Europa League. And you know, it's not like you're dropping in quality. You're still starting quality, but then maybe on form you prefer Saka and Martinelli. But if you think about it, Trossard also has goals for he's got goals for Brighton, of course. He's going to bring in goals for Arsenal without doubt, man. And Jorginho, I think Jorginho is best if you play him. I can see Jorginho playing with Partey, maybe in a 2, or even when Arsenal want to kill off time. I mean, take out what's his name, the Arsenal captain, man, Odegaard, bring in Jorginho, play Jorginho, Xhaka, and Partey, just to control the game, to ease pressures. If you want, I mean, if it's 10-15 minutes to go, you're leading 2-1, want someone to protect the ball, get some silly fouls, win some silly fouls, that is Jorginho. That's what Jorginho does better than a lot of players in the Premier League. So, and then you think, which other Spurs, man? I mean, Danjuma, if you're a Spurs fan, does it, like the signings, do they really like give you that confidence that you know what, we can get tougher from this signing? Because for me, I think it really doesn't. In all honesty, it's one of those, if a Spurs fan, I mean, they know their club best. They can't be Chelsea. They can't spend money like Chelsea. The owners are not like Chelsea's owners. They're not obliged to spend money. They don't feel like, and I mean, Spurs transfer window, really, there's nothing really to be excited about if I Spurs fan. I think United transfer window, bringing in a Weghorst, another midfielder, it's actually more of what they've done than Spurs, because United has such a good position where, fair and fine, if we're playing teams we can't break down, we can actually put in a striker, just cross balls in. I mean, Shaw can deliver balls. You're hoping Dalot can, Bruno Fernandes can definitely deliver good balls. And balls into the, let me not just say balls because it sounds weird. Can deliver good balls into the game, into the box. Yes, they lost Christian Erik Eriksen. I think it'll be until April. They brought in a midfielder from Bayern Munich. It'll be interesting to see if Bayern are willing to let him go. I think he is quality because Bayern don't just sign players just in He is quality. So it'll be interesting to see how Ten Hag uses him. But then what Weghorst has done so far in the Premier League, I think Weghorst, you think of Europa League, going away to a difficult team somewhere in Europe, you need to rest Rashford or Martial is injured. I mean, Weghorst is a reasonable signing for United. And I think it does enhance them to try and maintain that top 4 spot, man. Then you think of Liverpool. I think Liverpool now will be hoping that the injuries come back. I think that's the only thing I can say with Liverpool. They'll be hoping that the injuries, the injured players come back to the field, because, I mean, Gakpo alone is not enough. Gakpo alone is not enough. I think they should have tried to get another midfielder, even if it's on loan, and maybe even try and get another defender as well, because with Van Dijk out, unless Van Dijk is out for a short period of time, with Van Dijk out, man, it's something else. It's something else. I mean, we saw that FA Cup against Brighton, where defensive-wise, they were kidnapping. I think the whole game, Brighton on the better side. I mean, they've been better side when they played Liverpool this season anyway. So it's one of those, man, that if you're a Liverpool fan, I'm optimistic that Klopp might get the side to run in the Champions League and also make that last-minute title top 4 run, essentially, to try and get top 4. Or maybe it's accepting that Liverpool have to rebuild again. And maybe if it means rebuilding from Europa League, then it is what it is, man. And then the thing of City, I think Manchester City is weird, because letting Cancelo go to Bayern Munich on a loan with another option to buy for 75 million, I think that's just a weird business done. I think, of course, I saw some clips and some news somewhere that, of course, all was not well between Cancelo and Pep, and it was basically a showdown between the two. And you know, if you do that to Pep, I mean, bigger players, more reputable players have lost that battle with Pep. I mean, think of your Zlatan and your Eto'os and stuff. So it was bound to go, but then it was a weird one, because they're chasing down Arsenal, and you think they're losing a player who's essentially been a weapon for them. You know, he's not been just that defender, he's been a weapon for them going forward. And I mean, playing some brilliant balls, and I mean, linking up with the De Bruynes and the Silvas very well. So it's interesting to see. I mean, if will this be one of those signings, if Pep doesn't pip Arsenal to the Premier League title, then everyone says he shouldn't have sold João Felix. Sorry, you shouldn't have sold Cancelo. If they fall short in the Champions League, will everyone go back and say, you know what, the guy who's coming is quite young, he shouldn't have really moved on Cancelo? I mean, Ake's done well, but then it's so weird with City. I thought maybe if Cancelo leaves, they might get someone, because they haven't been looking like themselves really, and they don't have so many injuries to say maybe if some of the injured players come in. So I think for City, it's all about getting back to that form, to that way, and then maybe we'll see a different City. But then, yeah, then you think of the rest of the Premier League, man. I think West Ham did some good signings. I mean, bringing in Danny Ings, I think that's a much needed Premier League goal scoring experience there. And then Leeds, I was impressed with Leeds bringing in the American from Juventus. I mean, of course, he's linking up with other American players. Is going to, I think, it's going to fit perfectly well. And you think of also, I mean, Keylor Navas to Nottingham Forest. I mean, that's a strange one. The 3 times Champions League winner. I mean, it's strange in the sense that, of course, he's in the end time of his career. But then it's a good addition for Forest. I mean, he's an experienced shortstop. I mean, he's one of the most underrated goalkeepers in the world. I mean, you don't win 3 Champions League back-to-back with Real Madrid if you're not good. And to be honest, in some of those Champions League runs, if you ask Real Madrid players, they'll tell you he was key in a lot of them. They'd safe hands at the back. So I think Forest are getting safe hands. And I mean, they also in a Antonio Shelf, I think it's another important signing for them. I think with these signings, Forest might find themselves better equipped to actually fight off relegation. And then you can't help but worry, man. You have to worry about Everton. I mean, they got rid of Frank Lampard. What's his name? Sean Dyche is the new coach. No signings made. They sold what's his name to Newcastle. I forgot the kid, man. At some point, Chelsea wanted him. They didn't want him on a club, but then they sold him for 40 million. They didn't sign anyone. So what does it mean? I mean, they have to try and get a free transfer now. Like, they have to look for someone who's actually a free agent and just bring in a body, experienced body to try and boost Everton. You're hoping with Sean Dyche. I mean, we've seen, other than that season, Bentley got relegated. We saw that with Sean Dyche. I mean, he can sort out the defense. I mean, they'll be going route one in most games, and they have to. I mean, and at least Tarkowski and there's another Everton player who have played with Sean Dyche before, under Sean Dyche before. They'll be key in whatever Sean Dyche does. I mean, I worry for Everton. I worry. At least it won't be Super Frank getting relegated, because I think Everton are now relegation favourites. I mean, Southampton did some business about players. I mean, you think about it, they're on the only team who needed players, who didn't bring in players, and It's quite sad, man. But I think Everton will be going down. Anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. We'll definitely dropping in content. I mean, Premier League is back. Weekend Premier League is back. I mean, I can't wait to see the new Chelsea signings. Hopefully they hit the ground running like Modric and Felix, and hopefully no red cards, man, no red cards. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out the videos and like the videos. I'm your host, Ronald M, signing out.